October 5th, 1944, 14:30 hours. Luftwaffe Headquarters, Berlin. Oberst Heinrich Bauer, Chief of Air Defense Intelligence, spread the reconnaissance photographs across his desk with trembling hands. The images, taken by a high-altitude Junkers reconnaissance aircraft over the Mariana Islands, revealed something that defied every German assumption about American bomber capabilities. Row upon row of massive four-engine aircraft stretched across the captured airfields like silver monuments to industrial might. These weren't the familiar B-17 Flying Fortresses or B-24 Liberators that had been pounding German cities. These were something entirely new, larger, more advanced, and produced in quantities that made German bomber production look like a cottage industry. Mein Gott, Bauer whispered to his aide, Major Klaus Weber. Each of these aircraft is larger than our heaviest bomber, and there are hundreds of them. How many can the Americans possibly have built? What Oberst Bauer was witnessing through grainy reconnaissance photos was the deployment of the B-29 Superfortress, a technological achievement that represented American industrial supremacy so complete it rendered German resistance mathematically hopeless. While the Luftwaffe struggled to maintain a few dozen operational aircraft, American factories were producing advanced bombers at rates that exceeded Germany's wildest peacetime projections. The mathematics of defeat were written in aluminum and technology. Each B-29 represented 40,000 man-hours of precision manufacturing using materials and techniques that German industry could no longer access. The single airbase visible in these photographs contained more advanced bombers than Germany had produced in the entire war. What began as German confidence in their technological leadership would evolve into shocked recognition that they faced an enemy whose industrial capacity had evolved beyond their comprehension. The colonel who studied these photographs was witnessing the future of warfare, and Germany wasn't part of it. The development of the B-29 Superfortress represented American engineering achievement that German analysts had dismissed as impossible propaganda when first reports reached Berlin in 1942. The specifications seemed beyond credible possibility. A bomber weighing 74,000 pounds, with pressurized crew compartments, remote-controlled gun turrets, and range sufficient to operate from bases thousands of miles from targets. German intelligence, still operating under assumptions about American technical limitations, had classified B-29 reports as deliberate misinformation designed to mislead German strategic planning. The concept that American industry could mass-produce aircraft of such complexity contradicted fundamental German beliefs about manufacturing limitation. Americans build publicity stunts rather than practical aircraft, reported General Adolf Gehland, commander of fighter forces. After reviewing early B-29 intelligence in March 1943, such specifications, if accurate, would require industrial capacity beyond any nation's possibility. This alleged superbomber represents American propaganda rather than military reality. This dismissal of American capabilities would prove catastrophic when B-29 operations demonstrated that American industry had achieved what German engineers considered theoretically impossible while producing these aircraft in quantities that dwarfed total German bomber production. The technical specifications of the B-29 that German intelligence finally confirmed through reconnaissance represented engineering achievement that challenged every assumption about aircraft design limitation. The bomber's four Wright R-30-3-50 engines produced 11,600 horsepower, more than most German bombers' total power output. The pressurized cabin system enabled B-29 crews to operate at altitudes exceeding 30,000 feet without oxygen masks, providing comfort and operational effectiveness that German aircrews could not achieve. The aircraft's service ceiling of 31,850 feet placed it beyond effective range of most German fighters. Most devastatingly, the B-29's combat radius of 1,600 miles enabled strategic bombing from bases that German forces could never reach. Operating from Pacific Islands, American bombers could strike targets throughout the Japanese Empire while their bases remained absolutely secure from retaliation. The remote-controlled gun turrets represented technology that German industry had attempted but never successfully implemented. American B-29 gunners operated sophisticated fire control systems from pressurized positions, achieving defensive effectiveness that exceeded anything German bombers possessed. The bomb bay design allowed 20,000 pounds of ordnance, 4 times the capacity of Germany's heaviest operational bomber. This payload capability meant that single B-29 formations could deliver more explosive power than entire German bomber. Oberst Bauer's analysis of B-29 reconnaissance photographs revealed production capabilities that exceeded German intelligence estimates of American industrial capacity by orders of magnitude. The photographs showed not experimental prototypes but operational aircraft deployed in squadron strength at multiple bases. Intelligence estimates suggested that American industry was producing B-29 bombers at rates exceeding 100 aircraft monthly, representing more strategic bombers than Germany had manufactured during the entire war. These production rates seemed impossible under wartime conditions, yet photographic evidence confirmed their reality. Component analysis of captured B-29 equipment revealed manufacturing quality that exceeded German production standards despite American mass production methods. American industry had achieved precision and reliability that German handicraft techniques could not match while producing aircraft at volumes German factories could never approach. The logistics requirements for B-29 operations demonstrated American organizational capability that exceeded German military efficiency. Maintaining hundreds of complex four-engine bombers required supply chains, technical expertise, and industrial support that German forces could not duplicate under wartime conditions. Major Weber, analyzing B-29 deployment photographs, calculated the industrial implications with growing horror. If these photographs are accurate, American bomber production exceeds our entire aircraft industry, he reported to Oberst Bauer. Each of these aircraft requires more aluminum than we allocate for fighter production monthly. The strategic implications of B-29 capabilities became apparent as German intelligence analyzed American deployment patterns. The bombers were positioned not just for Pacific operations but represented a strategic capability that could be redirected against European targets if American leadership chose. The range specifications of B-29 aircraft meant that American bombers could potentially operate against German targets from bases in Britain, Italy, or captured Pacific islands. German air defenses, already overwhelmed by conventional American bombers, would face impossible challenges from aircraft flying at altitudes and speeds beyond German interception capabilities. German fighter pilots, already struggling against American escort fighters, would confront bombers with defensive armament that exceeded anything previously encountered. The remote-controlled turrets and coordinated fire-controlled systems would create defensive environments that German fighters could not penetrate effectively. Anti-aircraft artillery, the backbone of German air defense, would prove ineffective against B-29 operations. The bombers' operational altitude exceeded the effective range of German anti-aircraft guns, while their speed and defensive systems would minimize vulnerability during approach and departure phases. The industrial comparison between B-29 production and German aircraft manufacturing revealed disparities that made continued German resistance strategically hopeless. American industry was producing individual aircraft that exceeded German technological capabilities while achieving production volumes that dwarfed German industrial capacity. Raw material requirements for B-29 production exceeded Germany's total aluminum allocation for all aircraft manufacturing. American industry consumed materials for bomber production that exceeded German industrial capacity across all military categories while simultaneously producing fighters, transport aircraft, and naval vessels. Manufacturing complexity of B-29 production required precision machining, advanced metallurgy, and quality control systems that German industry had abandoned due to resource shortages. American mass production achieved technical standards that German manufacturing could not approach under wartime limitations. Skilled labor requirements for B-29 manufacturing employed engineering talent and technical expertise that exceeded Germany's available workforce. American industry had trained workers in advanced manufacturing techniques while German skilled labor was depleted by military conscription and combat casualties. The training programs supporting B-29 operations produced American air crews whose preparation exceeded German pilot education in both quality and quantity. B-29 crews completed specialized instruction lasting over a year, including technical training on advanced systems that German pilots never encountered. Flight training for B-29 crews included extensive practice with pressurized cabin operations, remote gunnery systems, and long-range navigation techniques that represented technological capabilities beyond German aviation training. American pilot preparation reflected systematic educational approaches that German training could not duplicate. Technical training for B-29 maintenance crews created skilled personnel capable of servicing complex aircraft systems under field conditions. American technical education produced maintenance capability that kept advanced aircraft operational despite intensive combat employment and limited repair facilities. Ground crew training for B-29 operations included specialists in hydraulics, pressurization, electrical systems, and armament that represented educational investment exceeding total German pilot training program. American technical preparation demonstrated systematic approaches to complex operational requirements. The operational deployment of B-29 bombers against Japanese targets provided German observers with evidence of American bombing capabilities that exceeded everything previously witnessed in European operations. Intelligence reports from Japanese sources describe bombing raids that achieved destruction levels beyond anything experienced in Germany. Tokyo firebombing operations conducted by B-29 formations demonstrate American willingness to employ total warfare tactics against civilian targets while possessing aircraft capable of delivering unprecedented destruction. Single raids achieved casualty levels that exceeded major European bombing attacks. Industrial target destruction in Japan revealed B-29 accuracy and payload capabilities that exceeded German estimates of American bombing effectiveness. Strategic targets were eliminated with precision that suggested advanced navigation and bombing systems beyond German technological capabilities. The psychological impact of B-29 operations on Japanese morale provided German leadership with preview of effects that similar bombing campaigns would produce in Germany. Intelligence reports described civilian panic and industrial disruption that exceeded anything experienced during previous bombing campaigns. Strategic effectiveness of B-29 operations against Japanese war production demonstrated American bombing doctrine that combined precision targeting with overwhelming force concentration. Industrial destruction rates exceeded German estimates of bombing effectiveness while maintaining operational tempo that Japanese defenses could not counter. Oberst's final assessment of B-29 capabilities, submitted to Luftwaffe Command in November 1944, acknowledged American technological and industrial achievements that rendered German strategic planning obsolete. His report represented recognition that Germany faced opponents whose capabilities exceeded German understanding. American bomber development has achieved capabilities that our intelligence considered impossible, Bauer wrote in his classified assessment. Industrial production rates exceed our most optimistic peacetime projections. Technical sophistication surpasses German engineering in categories we considered our specialties. Strategic implications suggest American military capacity beyond our ability to counter effectively. The report concluded with acknowledgement that German air defense planning required fundamental revision, based on recognition of American capabilities that exceeded all previous estimates. However, by November 1944, German industrial capacity for implementing defensive improvements had already collapsed under Allied bombing pressure. Major Weber's supporting analysis detailed production comparisons that revealed the magnitude of American industrial achievement relative to German capabilities. American B-29 production alone exceeded German manufacture of all aircraft types, while representing only a fraction of total American aviation manufacturing. Single American bomber program produces more advanced aircraft than our entire industry, Weber reported. Resource allocation for one aircraft type exceeds our total military industrial capacity. Technological sophistication demonstrates American engineering capabilities years beyond our current achievements. The strategic recommendations emerging from German B-29 analysis included acknowledgement that continued resistance required resources and capabilities that Germany no longer possessed. The aircraft represented American military potential that could not be countered through conventional defensive measures or strategic adaptation. Defensive preparations against potential B-29 operations in Europe would require fighter aircraft, anti-aircraft artillery, and radar systems that German industry could not produce under current conditions. The technological gap had become insurmountable through available German resources and industrial capacity. Alternative strategic approaches considered by German planners included diplomatic options based on recognition that military solutions to American industrial superiority no longer existed. B-20-9 capabilities represented conclusive evidence that Germany could not achieve victory through conventional military means. The influence of B-29 recognition on German strategic thinking extended beyond immediate military planning to fundamental questions about continued resistance against opponents whose capabilities exceeded German comprehension. Aircraft represented American achievements that challenged assumptions about technological limitations. Research and development priorities were revised to emphasize defensive technologies that might counter American bomber capabilities. But resource limitations and industrial destruction had eliminated German capacity for meaningful technological responses. Advanced aircraft development required materials, manufacturing capability, and technical expertise that Germany no longer possessed. Industrial planning acknowledged that German manufacturing could not compete with American production capabilities demonstrated through B-29 operations. The aircraft represented systematic American advantages in materials, manufacturing, and technological development that Germany could not match or counter effectively. Military education incorporated recognition of American technological superiority that required tactical and strategic adaptation throughout German armed forces. B-29 capabilities provided evidence of American military potential that exceeded German planning assumptions across all operational categories. The post-war analysis of German intelligence regarding B-29 capabilities revealed the systematic underestimation of American industrial and technological development that had characterized German strategic planning throughout the war. Intelligence failures reflected broader German inability to comprehend American potential. Captured German documents showed that military leadership continued to dismiss American achievements even when confronted with overwhelming evidence of technological superiority. Ideological commitment to German superiority prevented objective analysis of American capabilities until military defeat made recognition unavoidable. Technical intelligence regarding B-29 specifications was often dismissed as propaganda or misinformation rather than accepted as evidence of American engineering achievement. German analysts could not accept that American industry had surpassed German technological leadership in categories considered German specialties. Production intelligence regarding American bomber manufacturing was consistently underestimated due to German inability to comprehend industrial scales that exceeded German experience. American manufacturing achievements seemed impossible based on German understanding of industrial limitations. Strategic intelligence regarding B-29 deployment was interpreted through German assumptions about operational limitations that proved incorrect when applied to American military capability. German strategic thinking could not accommodate American logistical and organizational achievements. The technological legacy of B-29 development influenced post-war aviation worldwide through engineering innovations that established American leadership in advanced aircraft design. German recognition of American superiority came too late to influence war outcomes, but acknowledged technological achievements that shaped future development. Manufacturing techniques developed for B-29 production became standard aerospace industry practices that influenced civilian aircraft development globally. Production methods pioneered for military requirements found application throughout commercial aviation industry. Technical innovations incorporated in B-29 design provided foundation for jet aircraft development that maintained American technological leadership through the transition to new propulsion technologies. Engineering solutions developed for bomber requirements enabled advances across aviation. Materials science advances required for B-29. Construction contributed to metallurgical development that influenced multiple industries beyond aviation. Advanced materials processing and fabrication techniques became standard industrial practices worldwide. Educational programs established for B-29 development influenced technical training that produced engineers and technicians for expanding aerospace industry. Training methods pioneered for military requirements found application throughout American technical education. Today, aviation historians recognize the B-29 as representing peak achievement in piston engine bomber design that demonstrated American industrial capabilities at their wartime maximum. The aircraft proved that systematic engineering and manufacturing could achieve previously impossible performance through coordinated effort. Military historians acknowledge B-29 operations as decisive demonstration of strategic bombing effectiveness that validated American investment in long-range bomber development. Aircraft performance proved that technological superiority could achieve strategic objectives through systematic application of industrial capacity. German military historians recognize that B-29 capabilities represented American achievements that exceeded German technological development while demonstrating industrial capacity that rendered German resistance ultimately hopeless. Recognition came too late to influence strategic decisions, but acknowledged reality of American superiority. Veterans who encountered B-29 operations provided testimony to American technological achievement that commanded professional respect despite wartime hostility. German personnel acknowledged engineering excellence that transcended political and military conflicts. Oberst Heinrich Bauer, surviving the war in Allied custody, reflected on his recognition of B-29 significance. Those photographs showed us aircraft that proved American industry had surpassed our capabilities in every meaningful category. We were fighting enemies who possessed technological advantages we could never overcome through conventional resistance. The industrial statistics reveal the magnitude of American achievement in B-29 production relative to German capabilities. American factories produced 3,970 superfortresses, while German industry struggled to maintain production of conventional aircraft at fraction of American output level. Production comparisons show that American B-29 manufacturing alone exceeded total German aircraft production during comparable periods. This disparity demonstrated industrial capabilities that German intelligence had never accurately assessed, despite years of intelligence gathering. Quality analysis reveals that American mass production achieved precision and reliability that exceeded German handicraft methods while producing aircraft with technological sophistication beyond German engineering capabilities. Mass production combined with technological advancement challenged German assumptions about manufacturing limitations. Resource utilization for B-29. Production required materials and energy consumption that exceeded total German industrial capacity while representing only fraction of American wartime manufacturing. Scale differences revealed national economic disparities that made German victory impossible through conventional military means. German Colonel Heinrich Bauer saw hundreds of U.S. bombers in reconnaissance photographs and knew the war was lost because the B-29 superfortress represented American technological and industrial achievements that exceeded German capabilities so completely that continued resistance became strategically meaningless. The superfortress demonstrated that American engineering had achieved the impossible through systematic development, while American industry had produced these advanced aircraft in quantities that dwarfed German manufacturing across all categories. Recognition of this reality marked the moment when military professionals acknowledged defeat before political leadership. The photographs that revealed the B-29 deployment provided conclusive evidence that Germany faced opponents whose capabilities exceeded German understanding of what was possible in aviation technology and industrial production. The aircraft represented American achievements that could not be countered through available German resources. The comparative analysis between B-29 capabilities and German bomber development revealed technological gaps that had become insurmountable through available German resources. while American industry produced advanced strategic bombers. German aircraft development had stagnated due to material shortages and industrial destruction. German bomber projects like the Heinkel He-2-7-7 and Junkers Ru-390 remained experimental prototypes due to resource limitations that prevented mass production. These aircraft, while technically advanced, could never achieve operational status due to Germany's collapsing industrial base. The materials science required for B-29 construction utilized aluminum alloys and advanced metallurgy that German industry could no longer access due to resource shortages and Allied bombing of industrial facilities. American material advantages had become decisive factors in aircraft performance. Engine technology demonstrated in B-29 power plants represented American achievements in internal combustion engineering that exceeded German capabilities. The Wright R-30-3-50 engines produced power levels that German engine manufacturers could not match with available materials and manufacturing techniques. Manufacturing precision required for B-29 production utilized machine tools and fabrication methods that German industry had abandoned due to resource limitation. American manufacturing maintained quality standards that German wartime production could no longer achieve. The radar and electronic systems integrated into B-29 operations demonstrated American technological development that exceeded German achievements in electronic warfare and navigation. Radar-controlled gun turrets represented technology that German engineers had attempted but never successfully implemented. Navigation equipment aboard B-29 aircraft enabled precision operations across intercontinental distances that German navigation systems could not match. American development of radio navigation and radar bombing provided operational capabilities beyond German technological reach. Communication systems linking B-29 formations enabled coordination that multiplied bomber effectiveness through systematic cooperation. Radio equipment allowed real-time tactical adjustments that German bomber formations could not achieve due to equipment limitation. The psychological warfare implications of B-29 capabilities extended beyond immediate military impact to broader effects on German morale and strategic thinking. Recognition of American technological superiority undermined confidence in German ability to achieve victory through conventional military means. German industrial workers, learning of American bomber capabilities through official briefings and propaganda, experienced morale decline that affected production efficiency. Knowledge that enemies possessed overwhelming technological advantages reduced motivation for sustained industrial effort. Military personnel throughout German armed forces received intelligence briefings that acknowledged American technological achievements while attempting to maintain fighting spirit through emphasis on defensive preparation and strategic adaptation. However, recognition of technological inferiority affected military effectiveness. Civilian populations in German cities experienced psychological impact from knowledge that American bombers possessed capabilities that exceeded German defensive measures. Recognition that air raids would intensify using advance aircraft created panic and defeatism that undermined home front morale. Leadership credibility suffered when German claims about technological parity were contradicted by evidence of American achievements that exceeded German capabilities by substantial margins. Official statements about German technological leadership proved inaccurate when compared with American developments. The strategic implications of B-29 recognition forced German military planning to acknowledge systematic disadvantages that could not be overcome through traditional tactical or strategic methods. American technological superiority required fundamental revision of German strategic assumptions. Resource allocation priorities were revised to emphasize defensive technologies that might counter American bomber capabilities. But industrial limitations prevented meaningful technological responses. Advanced aircraft development required materials and manufacturing capacity that Germany no longer possessed. Alternative strategic approaches considered by German planners included diplomatic solutions based on recognition that military victory against American industrial capacity had become impossible through conventional means. B-20-9 capabilities provided conclusive evidence that Germany could not achieve strategic objectives through military action. Research priorities emphasized defensive systems that might reduce American bombing effectiveness. But technological development required resources and industrial capability that Allied bombing had systematically destroyed. German research capacity had been reduced below levels necessary for meaningful innovation. Industrial planning acknowledged that German manufacturing could not compete with American production demonstrated through B-29 operations. The aircraft represented systematic American advantages that Germany could not match through available industrial methods or resources. The intelligence gathering efforts to understand B-29 capabilities demonstrated German recognition that American technological development had proceeded beyond German comprehension. Systematic intelligence collection revealed achievements that challenged fundamental assumptions about manufacturing and engineering limitations. Espionage programs attempted to acquire technical information about B-29 design and production methods. but intelligence networks had been compromised by Allied counterintelligence operations. German agents could not access information necessary for understanding American technological achievements. Technical intelligence from captured equipment provided limited insights into American manufacturing methods and design philosophy, but samples were insufficient for reverse engineering or systematic analysis. German technical capabilities had declined below levels necessary for meaningful technical intelligence analysis. Prisoner interrogation programs attempted to extract information about American bomber capabilities from captured aircrews, but operational security training prevented useful intelligence acquisition. American personnel provided only basic information that could not support technical analysis. Reconnaissance operations provided photographic evidence of American bomber deployment and capability, but interpretation required technical expertise and analytical resources that German intelligence no longer possessed in sufficient quantity. The diplomatic implications of B-29 recognition influenced German strategic thinking about negotiated solutions to military conflicts that could no longer be won through conventional military means. American technological superiority suggested that continued resistance would result in total destruction rather than negotiated settlement. Peace initiatives considered by German leadership acknowledged that American military capabilities had reached levels that made German negotiating position untenable. B-29 operations demonstrated American power that could systematically destroy German industrial and civilian infrastructure. Allied coordination enabled by American technological leadership created united opposition that German diplomacy could not divide through traditional methods. American military superiority provided Allied coalition with confidence that made compromise solutions unlikely. International perceptions of German military capability were influenced by recognition of American technological achievements that exceeded German propaganda claims about military strength. B-29 operations provided visible evidence of American superiority that undermined German international credibility. Neutral nation attitudes shifted toward Allied support as recognition of American military capabilities suggested inevitable Allied victory through overwhelming technological and industrial advantages. German diplomatic influence declined as military weakness became apparent. The economic implications of B-29 recognition extended beyond immediate military considerations to fundamental questions about German industrial competitiveness in post-war periods. American achievements suggested technological leadership that would dominate international markets. Industrial competitiveness analysis revealed that American manufacturing methods and technological capabilities demonstrated through B-29 production exceeded German industrial development by substantial margin. Post-war economic competition would favor American industry. Trade relationships would be influenced by recognition of American technological leadership that could provide superior products across multiple industrial categories. German export potential would be limited by technological disadvantages that would persist into peacetime. Employment implications suggested that German industrial workers would face competition from American manufacturing methods that achieved superior productivity through advanced technology and systematic organization. Industrial employment would decline relative to American competition. Investment priorities would favor American industry that demonstrated superior technological capabilities and manufacturing efficiency. German industrial investment would be disadvantaged by recognition of American technological leadership. The social implications of B-29 recognition affected German civilian morale and confidence in government leadership that had promised technological superiority and military victory. Evidence of American achievements contradicted official propaganda and undermined public support. Educational implications suggested that German technical education had fallen behind American achievements in engineering and manufacturing science. Technical training programs would require fundamental revision to address technological gaps that had developed during the war. Cultural implications challenged German assumptions about technological leadership and industrial superiority that had supported national identity and political legitimacy. Recognition of American achievements required reassessment of German cultural values and national objectives. Scientific implications acknowledged that American research and development had surpassed German achievements in categories that Germans had considered national specialties. Scientific cooperation would be necessary to maintain competitiveness in technological development. Innovation implications suggested that German methods of technological development had proven inferior to American systematic approaches that achieved superior results through coordinated effort and industrial integration. Innovation strategies would require fundamental revision. The military lessons learned from B-29 recognition influenced German tactical and strategic thinking about future conflicts and defensive requirements. American technological advantages suggested that conventional military approaches would be inadequate against systematic technological superiority. Tactical adaptation emphasized defensive methods that might reduce effectiveness of American technological advantages, but resource limitations prevented implementation of defensive systems adequate for countering advanced bomber capability. Strategic planning acknowledged that future conflicts would be determined by industrial and technological capacity rather than traditional military factors like troop numbers or geographic advantages. Technological superiority had become a decisive factor in military outcomes. Training programs were revised to address realities of technological warfare that required different skills and approaches from traditional military methods. Personnel training emphasized technical competence and systematic cooperation, necessary for operating complex military systems. Equipment development priorities emphasized technological advancement that could provide competitive advantages against opponents possessing superior industrial capacity. Military development required systematic research and development programs that Germany could no longer sustain. The historical significance of B-29 recognition extended beyond immediate military impact to broader understanding of how technological development could determine national power and international influence. American achievements established precedents that influenced global military development. Technological competition between nations became recognized as decisive factor in military capability and international influence. B-29 operations demonstrated that systematic technological development could provide overwhelming advantages that traditional military methods could not counter. Industrial planning worldwide was influenced by recognition that manufacturing capability combined with technological advancement could determine national security and international competitiveness. Industrial policy became an integral component of national security strategy. Educational priorities emphasized technical training and scientific research, necessary for maintaining technological competitiveness in an increasingly complex international environment. Technical education became national security priority for developed nations. Research investment patterns were influenced by recognition that systematic research and development could produce decisive advantages in military and civilian applications. Research funding became a crucial component of national strategy. Today, military historians recognize that German recognition of B-29 capabilities marked the moment when traditional military thinking acknowledged that technological superiority could determine strategic outcomes regardless of conventional military factors like troop numbers or tactical skill. Industrial historians acknowledge that B-29 production demonstrated American manufacturing capabilities that established the United States as dominant industrial power through systematic integration of advanced technology with mass production methods. Aviation historians credit B-29 development with representing peak achievement in systematic aircraft design that combined advanced technology with practical operational requirements. The aircraft proved that coordinated engineering effort could achieve previously impossible performance specifications. Technology historians recognize that B-20-9 operations established precedent for technological warfare that determined military outcomes through industrial and scientific superiority rather than traditional military factors. Technological competition became a permanent feature of international relations.